I care about Bills Chiefs in the regular season? Why do I care about Bills Chiefs in the regular season? All I care about is the Buffalo Bills being able to beat the Chiefs when it matters the most in the playoffs. And they have yet to do it, 0-4. So why am I going to get all hyped up about this rivalrous affair when it's not really a rivalry? It's not a rivalry until Josh Allen and the Bills beat the Chiefs in the playoffs.
So it's just a series. Just a series of games for you that they play against each other. It's not a rivalry.
Not really. Because in order for it to be a rivalry, there has to be some balance there.
So Louis Riddick, ESPN NFL analyst, former player and executive, of course, in the NFL, was on Get Up with Greeny, 8 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday on ESPN, and had this to say about the Chiefs-Bills game.
I can assure you this. Brandon being the general manager, every single thing that they have done since Patrick Mahomes came onto the set is designed to try and beat Kansas City.
Yes.
And it usually starts with pass rush because they know that that's what they need the most of. That's why they had acquired Von Miller. Yep. That's why they went out and got Joey Bosa. Every single guy that they bring onto this roster on the defensive side is how can we neutralize number 15? I think them losing this game in Buffalo this year to this football team, meaning the Chiefs, given how they started the year, although they are on the come up right now, I think it'd be a devastating blow to them, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because, look, we know that the postseason is what matters with Buffalo, but every battle against Kansas City is very telling. It's a measuring stick game every single time. Every time.
Measuring stick game. Do you guys agree with that?
No. How is it a measuring stick game? You beat them 4 times in 5 regular season matchups, and that has translated to you getting bounced from the playoffs 4 times by them.
That's right.
So you can beat them in the regular season, but you can't beat them in the postseason. How is it a measuring stick game?
What if the reverse happens? Do you think any differently? If the Chiefs win, you're like, oh, well, maybe the reverse happens this year? Or you're just like, no. Okay, so you don't even go to that place.
No, but I think what it can do for the Buffalo Bills is shed light on exactly what they need to tweak, what they need to improve on ahead of next week's trade deadline. Because I said it needs to be an arms race in the AFC East with the Bills and the Patriots, because those two teams are going to be going back and forth in terms of who's going to give themselves the best chance to be able to host a home playoff game.
You just said something very interesting that triggered a thought. Are you saying if you're the Bills, it's almost better in a way to be exposed a little bit by the Chiefs so you act desperate versus, I'm making this up, versus a 27-21 win where you're like, oh, we still got this? In a way, is a loss better for them long-term if it exposes
I'm
problems?
not saying that they got to lose, because the best thing for them is to keep pace with the New England Patriots and try to win the division.
Right.
Yes.
I'd rather host a home playoff game than to have to take the show on the road. We only see a wild card team, a true wild card team that has to go on the road for every single postseason game, win the Super Bowl about once every decade.
Brady,
right? We saw it with Brady in 2020. Last time before that, you saw it with Aaron Rodgers.
2010, literally every decade.
That's what I'm saying. So it's once every day. So the path to being able to win a championship, which the Buffalo Bills should be squarely focused on,
right,
has to go through being able to win your division first, and that's not going to be as easy as we all thought before the start of the season.
So let me re-ask it this way. Let's forget result as it relates to score. Is it in the Buffalo Bills' best interest by Sunday night to feel like, oh, we're not going to be able to beat them in the playoffs if we play this way because of these things?
Yes.
Forget result, just game tape. They just watch we're screwed here.
This is reconnaissance if you're Brandon Beane, their general manager for the Buffalo Bills. What do we need? What do we need to tweak in order to be a championship caliber ball club? We're already a really good ball club. The floor is going to be at a certain level just because we have the reigning defending MVP. And we got a guy in James Cook that can tote the mail and is a true difference maker. We've got a good offensive line. But what else do we need in order to get to that next level? And for me, it starts on the defensive side of the ball. They need help up front. They need help on the back end. Ed Oliver's got the pec injury. Who knows what happens with him? You got Daquan Jones still out with the calf, another defensive tackle that's a big-time player, big-time leader on that team. And then the back end of that defense is sketchy, to say the least. Listen, I would not be surprised if the Buffalo Bills make several trades because they need help in several areas in order to get to the point where I believe they can make a run at getting to Super Bowl 60.
They're the team I picked yesterday that I said needs to be the most aggressive at the trade deadline.
No doubt. No doubt.
You have Josh Allen playing at an MVP level. You need to make sure that you're pushing all the chips in now. You cannot waste this window.
This is more about the Buffalo Bills than it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Totally agree.
And maybe it always is in every single one of these games because the Chiefs are perennial contenders. They're always in the conference championship game. They're always in the Final Four, and more often than not, they're in Super Bowls. Maybe it's always been about the Buffalo Bills when it comes to this regular season matchup, but this year it needs to be a little bit different. Even if the result is the same and they win, they need to make moves in order to become a more complete team so that they have a different result once they get to the playoffs.
So we have a Bills-Chiefs rivalry or series. That's about the teams, right? And you guys have sat there and said, and I agree with you, hey, this is more of a series than a rivalry because if you don't beat them in the playoffs, it's not a rivalry. What about the quarterback aspect of it with Mahomes and Allen? Because there's another interesting part of this as we get ready for Bills-Chiefs this weekend. We will get to coming up. Oh, God. We are on Sportsmanlike here on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. I am giddy about this game this weekend. Smalls is dreading it because of the Chiefs' inevitability, as she says. But, you know, the NFL is leaning into this being the biggest rivalry, even if we don't think it's a rivalry. You know why you know that? Did you see the two other games that they're putting against us in the 4 p.m. Eastern window on Sunday?
Not great.
Offense. Jacksonville at Vegas,
Not
the
great.
Saints at the Rams.
Not great.
They're not exactly hiding. We want you all on board for this game. So we all believe what we have with the Chiefs and the Bills is a consistent series between teams. One team wins in the regular season, the other team wins in the postseason. Mm-hmm. What about the quarterback position? Mahomes, Allen. Harry Douglas, of course, co-host Freddie and Harry, weekdays 3 p to 7 p Eastern here on ESPN Radio, had this to say about Mahomes' biggest rivals.
Would you say that Josh Allen is the closest player to be considering Mahomes' rival right now?
I think it's two of them. I believe it's Josh Allen, and I also believe it's Joe Burrow because we've actually seen Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff setting. Now, when it comes to Josh Allen, he's 0-4. He's had success versus Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, but when all the marbles were on the line, Josh Allen, he has not dethroned or defeated the Kansas City Chiefs alongside Patrick Mahomes.
The other voice you heard there, Gabe Knight, so we'll try to edit that out next time.
Man, has any player gotten more mileage out of an AFC Championship game win than Joe Burrow?
That's a great point.
I really want to know.
Why doesn't Jalen Hurts get included then?
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking the exact
He beat
same
him in the
thing.
Super Bowl.
Outplayed him twice.
Yeah, what am I missing on that? Because I look at Mahomes and say he's rival-less. I think there was one almost rival. If he would have won last year, then you could have started to really go into the Brady stuff. By the way, Brady is not currently active as a player. Smalls, you dread the Chiefs conversation, not because you disrespect them, just because you're sick of their greatness.
Because I love rivalries.
Does he have a rival?
He does not.
Is there anyone you feel is close?
Jalen Hurts, that's it. And maybe we don't want to assign it to Jalen Hurts because he's in the NFC. Maybe we don't want to assign it to Jalen Hurts because we want it to be one of those crop of AFC quarterbers and Burrow, Lamar,
I don't know
Josh
if that's
Allen.
it, though, because we had that
know.
with Magic versus Bird. One was in the Western Conference, one was in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if it's that. Just because you play in a different conference doesn't mean you can't be a rival. I absolutely think that Chiefs-Eagles has all of the makings of being a rival, and Jalen Hurts has the stuff that it takes to be a consistent winner at the same level as Patrick Mahomes.
But we don't want to do that.
We don't want to do that because we want to assign the greatness tab to guys that feel like outliers when it comes to dominant traits, right? Josh Allen, he's 6'5", 250 pounds. He is the most unique weapon that we've seen in the National Football League. Joe Burrow, #1 overall pick. This is a guy that was drafted to change a franchise. And he did that to his credit, but he's viewed through that lens of being the #1 overall pick and a national champion coming out of college. We don't view Jalen Hurts the same way because of how he came into the league and because his superpower might not be as obvious to most as it is to the people inside the Eagles building. So I think that's the issue with trying to create the rivalry with Mahomes when it comes to Jalen Hurts versus those other quarterbacks. I might be right. Listen, I could be looking at it the wrong way. I can acknowledge that. I just don't understand why we gloss over Jalen Hurts.
Right. So the point
That I understand.
The point that I think is really interesting about the Mahomes rivalry thing, I think we're all in agreement there is no rival at this point.
No.
Now, I also think we can all be in agreement that there are games we love seeing him involved in. We love seeing Mahomes and Allen on the field at the same time. We love seeing Mahomes and Lamar on the field at the same time. Just in its simplest form, you don't have to watch two games to watch the two great players. You can watch the same game and see Mahomes and see Allen. That doesn't mean they're rivals.
It's a matchup this weekend. Both of these superstar quarterbacks have had moments so far this season, but neither has their team in first place in their respective divisions. Here's Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen on renewing this storied rivalry.
Every single game comes down to like one play here or there that someone has to make, if that's offense, defense, whatever it is. And so I think it just comes down to players making plays in big moments, and that's kind of worked out for us in the playoffs and worked out for them in other times.
Every game is different. Every year is different. Everything presents itself in a different way. Nothing that happened last year, the year before, or the year before that carries over or matters this week. You know, they got a lot of guys that returned from last year's squad, but they got some new guys, you know, and you know, they're doing some different things. We're doing some different things. But at the end of the day, you know, we gotta come out and play the best football that we can play.
All due respect to Ravens-Dolphins, this is the matchup I think everyone's looking at in the AFC. This will be the 10th meeting between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, including the playoffs. Allen, of course, is 4-1 in the regular season, but Mahomes is 4-0 in January against the Allen and the Bills.
Can I just say this before we move on to the football topic? Every time I see that man, Josh Allen, because he's phenomenal, he's great. Every time I see him, I'm thinking about his wife, Haley Steinfeld. What an actress!
What?
She's phenomenal. She was
amazing.
She's phenomenal. What an actress! That woman is special. I just wanted to say that. Every time I see him, everybody talk about Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Damn it, Haley Steinfeld.
You loved her in.
Oh,
you loved her.
she was amazing. Sinner. She was amazing.
Pitch Perfect was
She was
fire,
amazing.
too.
Perfect.
True
Grit.
True
Grit, amazing.
She
I
can act.
will say this though too. Josh Allen's different now that he's married. He did not play.
Right.
He did a spot with Marty Smith.
Okay.
And he talked about talked about like how it changed his life. Like it was all about football. And you do wonder like the different ways that take you, that puts you dialed in all the way.
Yes.
Or you say, you know what? It doesn't have to be only this in my life. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out the rest of his career.
He's a good dude. But Josh Allen's a really good guy, but she is special.
Yeah.
I'm talking about as a talent.
Yeah,
she is really special.
Dan?
Super talent.
I haven't seen Sinner.
To the game.
To the football game.
All right, what do you got? What's the question?
Is this a must-win for Allen and the Bills?
There's no doubt about it. This is a must-win. This team is not going to the Super Bowl if they have to go on the road. To get to the Super Bowl, teams got to come through Western New York. I simply go back to last year. If you go back to the fourth down that happened in Buffalo, Josh against the Kansas City Chiefs, the run seals the game. And then I go to the playoff game on the road in Kansas City, and that fourth down, when everybody's like, oh my gosh, Steve Spagnuolo brings the pressure, they run the blitz, Josh on fourth down, he's running for his life, launches that toaster up, and Kincaid tries to make a catch on the ball. For the Buffalo Bills, the way that this football team plays, specifically on offense, and the way that they use motions, try to gather information, all that stuff, they got to be at home. This is a team right now defensively that's very average. Ed Oliver being out's a big deal.
Oliver's huge.
If they want to get to the Super Bowl and finally get past that hump in the playoffs, this is a game they have to win because they have to make teams come through Western New York.
Doesn't matter if they win or not. This ain't a Super Bowl team.
The
Buffalo Bills are not a Super Bowl team.
Why?
The Buffalo Bills aren't the team we've seen since Joe Brady has taken over. Now, I know everybody's going to look at last.
From the moment the season began, questions swirled about Kansas City's durability, about whether the dynasty had quietly slipped into maintenance mode instead of championship mode. But now, looking at the latest pulse of this team, there is a clear and powerful message. The Chiefs are back, and scarier than ever for the rest of the NFL. The return of Rashee Rice has brought new urgency. The offense, led by Patrick Mahomes, has regained its swagger, and the defensive unit is showing the kind of improvements that matter when rings are on the line. According to multiple outlets, the Chiefs now rank in the top 5 of power rankings across the league. The stage ahead is demanding. The next 3 opponents, the Buffalo Bills, the Denver Broncos, and the Indianapolis Colts, all boast winning records and playoff hopes. This is no soft stretch. This is a defining gauntlet. What feels different for Kansas City this year is twofold. One, Rice's return has reunited Mahomes with a dynamic receiver trio that elevates the offense to an elite level. One article described the Chiefs as the best team in the AFC now that Rice is back in full swing. And two, the defense is recapturing the domination that made Kansas City a perennial title threat. The shutout win over the Raiders and the synergistic play between offense and defense show a team that isn't just talented, but together. For every fan in red and gold, this is the moment to believe again. The lane to another Super Bowl is narrowing. The competition is fierce, but the Chiefs have shown through action that they aren't playing for a rebuild, they're playing for a crown. And when your quarterback is in MVP form, your receiver core is clicking, and your defense is responding, you don't just hope, you expect. So as we ride into this stretch of games, ask yourself, are the Chiefs firing on all cylinders? Are they the team others fear again? The evidence says yes. And if Kansas City takes care of business in these next 3 matchups, they're not just unlocking their potential, they're locking in their place back atop the AFC. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Chiefs are truly back to full power? What's your prediction for this run of games? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're fired up, and make sure you subscribe to Chiefs Kingdom Report so you don't miss any update on this journey. Let's ride together.